Carlson's is a full-service grocery store, proudly serving the community for more than 20 years. They feature fresh meat and produce, an outstanding deli featuring daily specials and freshly smoked meats, and a bakery. They also offer propane exchange, DVD rental, and utility payments through Western Union. They can even take care of your catering needs. They have recently remodeled their interior, including new frozen section and bakery managers during the past year. Case & Son Insurance is the oldest continuous business in Marion County and may be the oldest continuous family-run business in the state. The current owner is the fifth generation of the Case family to run the business, and there's never been any ownership outside the Case family. They are an independent agent representing many companies and offer a full line of property casualty insurance, including home, auto, farm, business, and life. They also specialize in bonds.
There it is. The call a regular meeting to order. Let's stand and say the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have 5 council persons present, so we do have our quorum, and we'll look at the agenda. Are there any additions or corrections to be made at this time? If none, approval is in order. So moved. Second. Been moved by Chris and seconded by Todd. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Consent agenda, does anyone want to have any removed for further discussion? If not, approval is in order. So moved.
Second.
By Todd and by Jerry. One on the end. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Number 4. Well, you know what I was going to do? I was probably going to let Matt go ahead and do his. Shall we go ahead and let him
I've
do it?
got nothing to do tonight.
You don't?
Wife's working.
Okay. Jelly is cold cooling here, so you just let
That's right.
Okay, so we'll just go ahead and.
Okay, the item number 4 is a dilapidated property request that was in the council packets. Marty was not able to attend tonight. This is a parcel of ground on South First Street. It was filed by petition. We are following the procedures of the ordinance. It's actually ordinance 1252. And we did, both Marty and myself met with the landowner, and this individual is willing to have the building torn down at their expense. And so it kind of subverted a little bit of the normal procedure of our ordinance. Our ordinance required that the governing body set by resolution a time to have a hearing and a time period in which the owner would be able to just make their claim of why it could be upgraded or repaired to some level, but the owner has already agreed to tear down the structure. So I was talking with the city attorney. I was going to just have it go to the next level, but I think maybe Susan could probably explain the best way to approach this is if the owner is willing to waive the rights of the resolution and the hearing, because we're all in agreement, but at the same time we need to follow the terms of the ordinance. So at this point, if the council...
Because it was by petition, correct?
It was filed by petition, and that is specifically enumerated and structured under the ordinance and how it's handled. So I think with the city attorney's assistance, we will actually have her draft a document that the owner would sign waiving the rights of all the notifications and resolutions and the hearing. And then once that is received, I do believe under the terms of the ordinance, there is after such notice and hearing has been recognized, the governing body can then find that the necessary repairs, alterations, or other improvements cannot be made at a reasonable cost. and the owner of the property and any other appropriate party shall be ordered within a specific time to remove the structure. So I think at the next city council meeting with the signature from this landowner, that we can proceed, then I will come to the council with an appropriate time period in which the structure needs to be removed by the owner, and then if it's not, then we will proceed with condemnation proceedings.
You gotta put that in the agreement that they sign, or,
We can do that, yeah.
Yeah, if
so yeah, if they don't, whatever, something happens, we can pick up and start.
The way the ordinance is written, it pretty much has to have after the hearing, and we were kind of discussing that, we probably, from our standpoint, better have that signed document that says we waive.
She's waiving her right to due process.
Right. But then at the next meeting, if you want to set an appropriate time limit for the demolition, I think that'd be more appropriate than setting it right now because we haven't had.
Well, I would hope you could talk, in my mind, you could talk with her,
Correct.
get that idea, and now
Correct.
you're putting this together, make that just part of the agreement she would sign.
Okay, and
That's
yeah.
reasonable, I mean,
Right,
as long as
and-
it's not 5
and-
years from now.
Yeah, and we're all of the
180
same
days or
understanding. and
something.
I would say at this point, we have kind of talked about October and November 1st as a deadline to have it removed. So if the council, I mean, as long as we're not violating anything with the ordinance, it may be included in that. If not, we'll be coming back in 2 weeks for you to set the date.
I think you ought to notify the rotation person too that this is what's going to be done, and what is going on. It's being handled, but it isn't going to be the correct way.
Yeah, we usually can.
Okay, it sounds good. Okay. Is that it?
Yep, that's it on that one.
Number 5. Mr. Holt.
Good evening. In your packet, you should have a proposed commercial lease agreement with Skywalker Gymnastics. Mr. Don Carter currently operates a business in our county above the St. Louis Auxiliary. He's wishing to lease 3,000 square feet of the property at 828 Roosevelt. Wishing to release, he'll be taking on the responsibility for the utilities at that location.
Questions?
I had a chance to look at it, I think it's fine, I'd move to approve the lease.
Is there a second?
I got a question.
Okay.
Well, are we making them carry their own insurance? Do we have a certificate of, the insurance?
Yes, we will have, I reviewed it.
How much?
They have $1 million policy, 300,000 in physical property, which is a far excessive value of property. And he is required to provide to us as part of the lease, and we kept on file. And we have proper notification that if for any reason it's canceled, we have to be notified 30 days in advance so we can take the proper steps.
And then we're at number 20, sale by landlord, that actually says that if we could sell it, we can sell it with them having it rented.
That's correct. And then at that point, they would have to renegotiate with the new property. This agreement basically does not box the city in to continue with our marketing plan to sell the entire property.
And we don't want to be boxed in.
Jerry, you guys got a question?
I would just ask if the county, the city attorney had reviewed it.
Okay.
I'll second
We
Todd's
had a-
motion.
Okay. We had a motion by Todd and seconded by Jerry Dieter to approve this lease at 828 North Roosevelt. Any further questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? Motion carried 5-0.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Number 6. I guess we're down to you pretty fast anyway.
God, it would be. Matt is actually here to present, so I'm going to defer and let Matt make the presentation. You do have his letter, a map, and the proposed improvements upon the property in your packets, and I'll let Matt answer any questions you may have.
Yes, my name is Matt Meyerhoff. I'm the supervisory district conservationist up at the Conservation Office, formally known as the Natural Resource Conservation Service. What we would like to do is do some information and education, some outreach for the producers here in Marion County. And what we'd like to do with that is put in a cover crop plot. Cover crops, what they're used for is in between cash crops to cover the ground. They reduce erosion, increase infiltration. Depending on the crops you use, you can increase fertility, and they also increase tilth and also help the soil biota, the small bugs, earthworms, bacteria that are living in the soil. What I would like to do is to use the lot directly north of Spur Ridge and take about a 300 by 300 foot area, which is the approximate size of that lot, and use that to put our plot in. There's a map there, the black and white one, kind of what we would look at putting in as far as the layout of the plot. There'd be along the road individual species of cover crops. Some of those that we'd be putting in would be things such as cowpeas, forage soybeans, which are just a non-GMO soybean, something that Monsanto doesn't have trademarked. Sun hemp, mung beans are one that people have interest in, forage sorghum, pearl millet, there's sunflower, and then another plant called buckwheat, which it's not wild buckwheat, the weed that you see out in wheat fields. This is a different plant. We won't use any noxious, any invasive, anything that's going to cause problems in the future. That would all be along the road so the producers would be able to see what the individual crop species look like. Back off the road into the south, there'd be an area that would be a cover crop mix. That's really where we're pushing right now, is for people to use mixes of different species of plants rather than an individual species. The reason for that is the different species of plants, even like grasses and forbs, so something like, say, corn and soybeans, there will be fungus that will actually interact between their roots and they will help each other live. That's what they're actually seeing in the soils. So we'd like to demonstrate some of that too and use some mixes. The area that would be to the northwest, it would be the diagonally striped area. This is where Doug Spencer, our rangeland conservationist, he's a professional at grazing land and hay land. That's all he does is grasses. He would like to look at some interseeding of different legumes into the stand of fescue that's out there right now. So we went out and looked at it the other day. There's actually more fescue than brome, even though he'd prefer doing it in brome because it's more common in the county. We've taken seed directly into that. So what this would require is on 3/4 of this, anything that has the stripes, not the diagonals, but the broader stripes, would require to go in there, kill out the vegetation, and then we would seed into the standing vegetation. We would work the ground. Once that was done, we'd allow whatever we had planted to grow. We would use Roundup to kill the vegetation that's there. It binds with the soil as soon as it hits it, becomes inactive, so it's only what it sprays on. Its toxicity is very low, so it's a very safe herbicide to use for this, especially being close to town. And at any point in time, if someone wants to come in, buy that lot for development, we're gone. If at any point in time you're unhappy with what we're doing, we'll kill out what we've got, seed it back to brome. So, any questions? One of the other things that we would be...
Have you talked to residents about what you're planning on, and you've talked to the district?
No, I have not.
You might.
So I can do
Because
that.
of course, he's being a farmer would know that what you're doing is safe, so
Yeah.
I think that would be the prettiest thing to do.
Yeah.
If you get it done.
And we definitely do that before we started spraying anyhow, so it would not be a problem. One thing we would do is add fertilizer out there. With Doug's permission, I did go out and pull some soil tests. I know, Mary, you'd mentioned once that you'd like to have that in a nice hay field. There was no fertility out there. The nitrogen was at 1. They have to put 1 if they can test anything. And in when it was a 24-inch core, they had 1. The typical core, well, just baseline, what K-State recommendation is 30. If you don't take a core, you just figure 30. So it's very low fertility, we wouldn't be able to grow anything without adding something. We're gonna take it to what a typical after crop level would be, not a level to where you normally plant a crop, so it'll still be growing.
You'll do it right there in your.
You're not going to work the land or anything?
No, it'll all be 100% no-till.
Any questions? I think that it sounds, you talked to me before about it, I was in favor of it, and I think then I'll go ahead and move that we allow the NRCS to use this particular lot for that purpose. Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any more questions?
Hopefully you'll bring a lot of people to look at it.
That's the goal.
Probably calls Rex, Tyler left me out there and stop real quick.
We'll stay a full lot off the highway.
These cockers and the.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That is one thing, a heads up, probably will be coming back in the winter to ask to continue it, to plant crops that grow through the fall into the winter. So right now, we'll just be doing summer crops, so we won't have any radishes or any oats or anything like that out there.
Been moved and seconded. Any further questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? Motion carried 5-0.
All right, thank you.
Miss Attorney General, Attorney General.
Wow, I got ready.
You got a raise. Do we need to have any kind of,
Oh, probably just a letter, an informal letter, so we can, I'll contact you and we'll write something up.
That'll work.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, man. See you later.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Chief of Police?
Over the past 2 years that I've been back from Africa, I've been asked by several people about, hey, can we go out and use the police department range, or the city's range, to go out and, sight in weapons, or, shoot around, or just have some fun or whatnot out there. Also, hunter safety, they've been using our range for stuff, concealed carry, concealment, they've been using our range to qualify their people. So we kind of came into an idea about maybe trying to let some of the residents around this community use the range, for sighting and firearms, or let the concealed carry classes use it, and charging a slight fee to use it. So that way that fee goes into the range fund, and then we can use that money to keep, building projects out there, not only for us, but for, other people that want to go out there and shoot. So I got with a friend of mine that's the chief of police in St. John. The city of St. John lets their residents use their police department range for these same things. So I got with Susan, and I got their documents from St. John, and kind of was looking at what they did, and then I came up with my own version and forwarded it to Susan, and Susan looked at it, and there was just a couple of tweaks here and there for it, but I think it'd be a good thing. I mean, it'd bring a little money towards the range, and people could go out there and shoot without there being any huge issues. The only thing that we would do would be to have extensive background checks, and also I still have to get with Sheriff Kraft about using their ID machine, but what we would do is just get them a photograph on a hard, like a driver's license card, and that would say that they're approved to use the range. And then if law enforcement's out there using the range, or we drive out there, they're to stop shooting immediately, and that way we can check to make sure that they have the proper identification, and they're not out there
Will
just.
you know when they go out there?
Yeah.
Or they don't?
Yes.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
some provision that you have to let dispatch know.
Yeah,
Before they go?
right.
How many are going to be able to go out there at one time?
It just depends. I mean, I don't know if you guys have been out there since we've done the dirt work out there. I mean, it looks pretty nice. On the rifle range, there'll be spots for probably 6 to 8 people, and on the pistol range, there'll be spots for 6 to 8 people as well.
How about parking?
Parking, they'll have to park back by the range shed. You won't be able to park any closer than that.
And then I know I forwarded the documents on to the insurance provider, and I know he's been in contact with Tyler.
Right, Casey wanted me to make a diagram of what the range looked like, so I got a ruler out and drew lines.
Has he told you, he got back to you on
He
everything?
hasn't gotten back to me yet.
Okay. This is all kind of subject to that as well.
Right, because I know Wednesday is when he asked me for the sketch, because he needed to get with the insurance, or whoever he goes through, and talk to them, and he said he'd get back to us.
Okay, so you don't know what that's going to be yet, correct?
I do not.
I don't.
Do you want to wait until perhaps just keep on to him and then wait?
I think so. I think by the next city council meeting in 2 weeks that we should know more. And the documents are, I mean, Susan's already looked through the documents, so.
That part of it is in the
Yeah,
document.
and there's a couple things that Doug and I were talking about too, about, you know, if this goes into effect, you know, for like this year, you know, instead of paying $100 to go out and shoot, you know, you're able to pay, you know, probably $50 because we're halfway through the year and shoot.
We talked about a pro rata schedule for 2013, but then having everybody renew at the beginning of the year, it makes our billing so much easier than trying to establish odd expiration dates on the permitting process.
So you're still prorate whenever somebody was.
Only in 2013. Then in 2014, if somebody comes in mid-year, it'd be the full price.
Do you have any estimate or idea how many people are going to take advantage of this?
I've had 10 to 15 people ask me about it. And when I was asking, I had called a couple businessmen and asked them, okay, what do you think would be a fair price would be to, you know, use the range? And, you know, that's where we came up with the $100 because that gives the serious person that wants to go out there to shoot, you know, or to sight in their rifles or their pistols. You know, they're going to be out there doing what they're supposed to be doing, and you're not going to get somebody that's just out there messing around. So I've had a few people that have been really interested.
My only comment is up on South Hill. You can really hear you guys when you're out there
That's what I.
blazing away
Yeah.
with your pistols, whatever. And I'm just wondering if that's going to add a lot more.
I don't think it'll be any different. I mean, the occasional weekend warrior out there, I imagine, will probably go out there and shoot. But
Do you have a limit or at the time when it's going to be shut down, or is it
I don't think we do.
Yes.
sundown?
Yeah.
8 a.m. to sunset.
They gotta contact dispatch and they'll get a permit.
well, when they come into City Hall to submit their application, I'll do the background checks myself and Clinton will. Once we get done with those background checks and everything's okay, we'll contact those persons and have them meet over at the sheriff's office to get their card made.
Will you guys be notified when somebody's out there?
Yeah, because they're gonna have to call dispatch.
Okay.
Or go by the police department and notify the on-duty officer.
So that's where they're gonna have to talk to dispatch.
Or they go to dispatch, or they have to come to our office and find us. Or call dispatch, just let them know.
Well, both places to know.
Right.
Is there not also a red flag that?
There's a red flag,
that's
yeah.
up too.
Yeah, there's a red flag that's to be hoisted when there are active shooters at the range, so it can be seen from the road.
But the dispatch knows it, well, then if Mr. D calls them, they can make sure that they know it as well as the passer.
I've not heard any serious complaints, but I've heard comments.
Do they have any,
Times
and
when there's quite a bit of firing going on over there.
Well, I mean, as times change, we're required to fire a lot of ammunition these days to make sure that we're proficient in our jobs. So, you know, it's the same way with the same concealed carry license person. but they then went out and they went to practice as much as they can, so that way they're proficient as well. Because I know, my guys don't want to get into a situation where they're not hitting what they're supposed to be hitting, and they're hitting somebody behind them or something, so.
Is there any what kind of gun they're going to have to use, or any limit of this?
You can't use a 50 caliber, rifle out there. You can't take a big sniper rifle out there and use it, but, anything from your 22 to your, probably 308.
So you'll probably be asking that question.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's why on the application, it asks on there what firearms you're gonna use on there. So,
Everybody had their questions answered? If you come back with that information from your insurance, then we'll take care of it next time.
this,
Thank you. Number 8.
You have in your packets a memo from myself as well as a letter. It was advised by the council that we go out for bid for repairs of the Liberty Park wall. We received one bid back. It was the initial businessman that had made the initial offer. And of that bid, it's $2,800 to inspect the wall for loose mortar, chisel loose mortar and widen cracks, fill and/or patch all missing stucco or concrete surfaces, and then stabilize any structural cracks or identified areas of weakness in the stucco surface. So the price has not changed from what was first presented, and this is the only entity that responded to our bid request.
I move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Chris. Any further questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? Motion carried, and maybe I should have asked a question about, before he starts, then you're going to have him a little bit of a signing thing here too for a contract with him as to what he's doing.
I mean, if you accept the bid is what it is.
Yeah, he's
Well, if he
identified.
gets started and then doesn't continue, and I know this guy, and I don't think he would ever do it, but then if he should start and then just go off and leave it or something, why then we would be a little bit perturbed, but then, so I don't know whether we need to have some time limit on him or not, do we?
I guess we're not gonna pay him though.
No.
No, that's true, but
Yeah.
well, I don't want to have something.
Well, I mean, yeah, if
I
you
know.
don't finish the job, we'll,
It's very dependent on weather, so I'd be kind of cautious because any time frame we give him would get such a large window, allowing for the fact that I don't want to try to be doing this stuff in 140 degree in case it, sweats out too fast or dries too fast, and if it's raining, he's not going to apply it, so I think we know the scope of the work that he is going to complete.
You want to go ahead and start doing a little bit of investigation on doing what and where the mural will be put back up or not? Or do you think that-
Oh, yeah, we've already, I've heard stories of individuals within the community that would be very anxious or able to make any repairs to the paint when it's all ready to be done.
Okay. We took care of that one. Let's go down to number 10. And I was into the office the other day and was talking to Doug about number 9.
Number
Okay,
9.
well, we better do that first then. Number 9.
We've received an invoice from EDH and Associates in the amount of $3,050 for engineering that was done on the Jack Sewer project from April 28th to June 22nd. This payment will be made out of the loan fund, so we need permission to request the funds from the state for this payment.
I move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jerry. All those in favor, is there any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? Motion carried. 5-0. Okay, now down to number 10. The comprehensive plan, as you know, was, and don't maybe some of you don't know, was done in 2009, and they finally completed a review of it, and it started in 2007, so the Planning and Zoning Commission did it at that time, and I would thought maybe we just had better start thinking about it. If it takes 2 more years to review this, why then it will be in almost our 5 years will be done. So I thought maybe we'd better think about who do we want to do this. Do you think that the planning and zoning people did a capable job last time? They did have recommendations that they didn't get, but then are all of you familiar with this thing? This particular? Okay. So I just was wondering to know if you had any discussion as to, or feelings about, if you thought that 2 years was too long for it to be reviewed, or do you want to give this job to somebody else, or see what the planning commission says about doing it? Because I haven't talked to Marty at all about this review. Have you mentioned anything?
I wasn't too sure where you were going with that. If I remember correctly, I believe the Planning and Zoning Commission is the one that has to do the comprehensive plan. So I don't think the council can come in and usurp that plan. The only thing you could do is tell me to encourage them to get it on the schedule and get you working on it.
Are they finished with their subdivision?
Subdivisions are done. They are looking at the what? Yeah, they've looked at bylaws. I think they were pretty happy with that. They're going once more through the zoning regs, but this would definitely be, I know it's on their agenda to be tackling, so we can just strongly recommend that they put their full efforts into it.
Well, they'll be having to probably get a new chairman too, these days if we get. By the way, I don't have any formal resignation from Chad yet. You want to call him and see whether he will do that for me? Okay, that's all I wanted to do, is just kind of give you an update as to what I was going to plan to get this started, as to reviewing it again, and if you have any suggestions for the planning board, or they do have to have a hearing again, I think, for the review, so we'll be having help with that too, I'm sure. So that's about all I wanted to say on that we'll be working on that, I think, in the next few months. Number 11, we had our first work session last Monday night for our budgetary outlook for 2014, and I was wondering if we'd be ready to do another one again on be off to do some more work on it. What you do? That sound okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so how about with the rest of you? Would that be okay for you to 5 o'clock again on that next Monday?
Should be.
Is that 5 o'clock all right for you, Todd?
July 8th.
No, this is July 8th. It will be next
15th.
Monday. And what goals would you like to try to give us? Do you have any idea, but might be planning to
I
get us?
probably won't be here today.
Well, we won't be making any decisions, this will
I'll
just
try to
be
be here, but I can
work
probably
session.
go with
It should be full budget with line item.
Okay.
But again, it is a work session, so no decisions will be made.
Do we have anything more to do as far as what you were doing for us, Mr. Cooper? As far as the,
Formalized training for the audit.
maybe we can do it in an hour that time? No more than an hour and a half?
Whatever you want to shoot for, I'll stay with it.
Well, we'll shoot for it, but if it takes an hour and a half, we'll do it.
Okay.
Because at 5 o'clock, that would put us at 6:30 again, so. Okay.
Okay, so for publication or for any notification, July 15th, a work session by City Council here at these offices at 5 o'clock.
All right, going on down to number 12. Marty, have anything other than what?
There's nothing else written on here, but we have gone over it. If you have any questions, I can inform the council.
You know, I would like to have a little bit, maybe Could Christian be in there and give us a little bit of planning on his work with the electrical at that particular meeting and day? Will you do that?
Which
On the budget workshop.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we are working right now, we've contacted two major contractors and one engineer to try to do a feasibility study on converting the 2400. There was a memo in the packet to the 12.5, and I'm anticipating getting some preliminary data by the end of this week.
Well, I think we've been working hard on that, so I think we ought to be giving him an opportunity to tell us what he's done, if he wants to,
Okay.
okay?
Excuse me, back to Marty, on the 200 block on South Freeman, there's that patch of gravel that you have in front of a drive that was quote-unquote repaired.
Yes.
Which has one heck of a pothole in there. If somebody's gonna hit it, probably break a tire. I think they need to go back and finish the job of filling that thing.
Okay, we'll see if we can get some cold patch in instead of rock, because the rock does wash out very quickly. I did have, this was brought up at the last meeting,
Right.
200 block South Freeman, and I was told that it was rocked and fixed. No?
No,
Okay,
it's got, they put fresh rock in, but the one end of it, the south end of it, there's a hole about that deep.
okay.
Maybe we could hear on the next time too is how much more coal patching he's gonna be doing too, can we? Is he gonna do too much more of that? Before
The
we get to-
discussion may actually turn more into the street improvement bond process. I have spoken to Sarah Steele and the engineer. We are splitting out the cost between CDBG and non-CDBG street improvements. And we do anticipate having a presentation for the council at the next meeting on the 22nd.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Chief, you have any other?
I was gonna let you guys know that the fireworks went off pretty good this year. There wasn't very many problems. We had 19 complaints, but those 19 complaints were officer initiated. So if they saw someone doing something they weren't supposed to be doing, then they told them, hey, you need to not do that anymore. So after that first initial warning, there was no more problems. So, and I mean, there was a few problems with people shooting after hours, but one visit, there was no more problems. So,
About the fireworks stand, I saw that you were in there. Did that go okay? Your fireworks stand?
It was a bang-up success.
Was it?
but I think there's probably some things in the ordinance that we do need to talk about that Doug and I actually talked about on Friday. So there's a part in the ordinance that reads that you have to be 1,000 feet from any hospital or any sanitarium or anything like that. 1,000 feet's pretty good chunk of
Quarter
foot.
mile.
Yeah.
Almost.
3 city blocks.
Yeah, so I think on that part of the ordinance, we may need to modify that a little bit, so, or Susan can't shoot off fireworks.
Mr. Dieter?
Quite the snippet.
They're not.
Well, I guess we didn't prohibit them from shooting
That's
them
true,
off.
right, right. It was kind of funny.
Anyways, that's something we'll probably think about.
Well, in other words, it went off okay.
Go off like a bang, like Chris said.
Oh, you guys are getting too many puns in here, that's all I gotta say. Okay. if
Sorry,
we
nothing
don't-
further.
If we have no further puns to give, I will let you go then, thank you.
Thanks.
How about you, Ms. Lang?
I have nothing to report.
Okay. City Attorney, do you have anything that you want to tell us tonight?
No.
And O'Rourke?
You do have my written
I wonder, you're
report
gonna
in
have to
there.
start putting the name down here, because, again, so that I won't.
I did want to inform the council on Wednesday I'll be traveling to Topeka, presenting as one of the finalists for the 2015 Intelligent Transportation System, a grant request for our city. We have been selected for that, and we'll be representing the city Wednesday morning. We don't have a grant to help
It's-
with some integrated technology.
I probably should have talked about that a little bit as well. We have some areas in town where people go a little too fast. So with, we're hoping if we get the grant for these signs, we'll be able to post these signs up. And it's just kind of like the ones that they have in Peabody, but these are on a mobile cart. So they're solar powered, so you don't have to hook them up to anything. So up and down the hill, I mean, you can put one on one end, one on the other. You can put them down here on the end of Main Street, out by the ball field, on Cedar Street. I mean, you can put them just about anywhere. So hopefully that'll catch some attention, you know, that, hey, this is the speed, you need to slow down.
Somebody pushed me up the hill the other day, I know that. That's usually not a thing, usually pushed down and pushed up is a bit different. Thank you. That sounds like a good deal too. Anybody else have anything for Mr. Holger? Okay, Mr. Dunn.
I have nothing else to add unless you have any questions.
Okay. Any further questions? Are you thinking, or are you?
On this, on the switch from to the 12 to 5, this is a bid request, or you're trying to get a cost?
At this point, the question is, are we doing a bid? We've talked to several different contractors. At this point, it's a fact finding, which should be very little to no cost. If it is, it's just time and expenses. But I don't feel confident saying I know if we make these changes, we can save 2 or 3%. I want somebody that can have engineering capabilities and can at least quantify what kind of savings we could experience. So if there is any cost, it would be very minimal, and I've already spoken to Christian. We've got room in our budget for professional services, some of the line items in there. And I just feel as though we need to give you better information before we even make a recommendation of what we wish to do. So no, at this point, we're not bidding or anything, we're just asking questions.
At the current situation with our people doing it, it's going to take a long time, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, anecdotal evidence right now says that we could maybe get somewhere around, 8 blocks done with switchover, and a contractor could come in and spend 3 weeks and it may cost upwards of $150,000. I want those items nailed down before we do it. If you're asking, could our crews eventually get this done? In reality, no.
We need to get it done.
Correct. And that's what we really see is it's the time factor of, from what we can save if it were done, does it not justify bringing in a contractor? But I'll have better numbers so that you can make an informed decision as to whether or not you want to jump and pay for those contractors to be in and make those switches.
The contractors have indicated they have the ability to change this without interrupting service to clients. Where if we do it in-house, we do not have access to the technology to keep the grid completely functional.
Thank you.
Good question. Okay, I think that concludes that part of it. Then we'll go on to public forum. I see that we do have some public in our forum this afternoon. Would you like to have, do you have something that you
Yeah,
wanted
I'm
to say?
Karen Ehrlich, and Debbie Stunzel and I have.
You want to recognize yourself, please, and go to this.
I'm Karen Ehrlich, and Betty Stunzel and I have businesses at 162 West Main here in Marion. It was a former service station. There's no curb along the street on the south side of our property where the north side of the street. And 5 diagonal parking stalls have been painted there. Well, our clientele come in and they park up next to the building in the lot. And so if somebody comes along and parks in those parking spots, they are legal, but it kind of pins our people in. And we would like to request the city remove those 5 parking spots. Are you familiar with me? You're familiar with, you are, I know.
Right.
Are the parking spots marked in the rollover curb area where they could actually enter into your parking lot?
Yeah.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right.
You know, there's no curb all along the south side of our property. And,
Curb ends up, stops basically where the old lumberyard used to be.
my Rhino, we probably get them,
Yeah.
or they get up to our building,
So
yeah.
to continue to put the lines there, correct?
We have, a lot of our clientele is maybe physically limited, and so it's an asset to us to have them be able to pull up there and park. And you know, quite frankly, for somebody to park out there might be risky. Because, you know, they're not used to always somebody being there. And we would sure like you guys to consider removing those, since it is actually is a driveway.
Yeah, at this point, there's not a lot of traffic down there.
I mean, do you even see much usage of those parking spaces?
Off and on.
Off and on.
Off and on.
Off
Okay.
and on. Not, a lot of times they might park there and come
Yeah.
across the street to my business.
And if they don't park there, then they make a U-turn through our driveway and
Yeah.
park on the side.
Yeah, they do that every once in a while too. But you got parking in front of what the old lumberyard used to be, so.
Okay.
Why don't you take a look at that and see what can be done?
Council's okay with that? Look at that?
Does it need our formal action?
Not that I know of, because that would actually be something that either street superintendent or even police department could get involved. As long as there's no objection to
If you
that.
think that you need to look at it and come back.
Sure. Can do.
Okay,
Thank you for your time.
Anyone else would like to have a time with us? If not, then we're ready for number 14, which I would like to have an executive session, which we will come out probably and do a little bit of talk about how we're going to be setting up the evaluation for our city administrator, but I would like to get the feeling of the council first in executive session as to what they think we should do. Okay, so I would move that we
Have
have,
a 3-minute recess before.
oh, yes, we can.
I would appreciate it.
Okay, we'll have a 3-minute recess, and then we'll have a 15-minute, we'll start with a 15-minute executive session for non-elected personnel to include the council to talk about the city administrator's evaluation.
Is there action on this, Mary?
You second? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Are there any further questions? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. The 3-minute recess.
Okay.